Whenever you're, Joseph, where'd you go? Ready? Whenever you are, sir. Good morning.
We should be back. You may want to start from the beginning because we did not have sound from the start of the broadcast. Sorry.
No problem. So we're live now, Joe? All right. We're going to try this again, and I'm going to sort of start over with the comments just because we have received word that some perhaps in the outer regions of Swain County have not been able to hear very well. But as we were sitting here on the stage or standing here on the stage thinking about all of this, what we just experienced is indicative of what we have experienced for the past year to 18 months. So it's almost symbolic that we had an internet technical issue that has kicked us off and has disturbed your ability to follow along with what we're doing. So let me say this. Thank you for your perseverance, your persistence, and your patience. How's that for alliteration? My English teachers will be proud. Not only right now, but also last year, because our teachers and our teacher assistants put up with a lot of that. And I appreciate it, and so does our community. And if I can editorialize one more thing, that's why we need face-to-face instruction. And that's why we're doing our best to move forward the way that we are. So, for those of you who have had time this summer to recover, congratulations. I hope that it was beneficial and meaningful for you, but welcome back to work. For those who worked through the summer, thank you so much. For our teachers and our assistants and our custodians and bus drivers and cafeteria staff who helped us put on our summer program, your effort was worthwhile because we have seen incredible growth in a large number of students. Thank you for that. Our goal has been to be able to bring our students back into the classroom since this pandemic began. And we're closer now than we have been in quite a while. So even though sometimes it seems like we run into muddy situations like we just had, my choice is to move forward. I choose to look up and not look down. And that's where we are today. We are going to move forward. We're going to serve every student with all of our might. We're going to use all of the energy that we have to do that. And I can say that with security, knowing that that's true for each of you who might be watching right now, because I know your hearts. And I know that you wouldn't be sitting in our school system today if you didn't believe that you could affect the future of our children. So I thank you for that. And even though it may not be the best of circumstances, we absolutely can make the best out of it. That is exactly what we're doing this morning, too. I want to introduce a new staff member at the central office, and what you'll find this morning as we go through with our principals, that they will not only recognize new staff at some point, and there are many, because we've had a good deal of transition, and it's still happening, but they're also going to introduce the Teachers of the Year and the Assistants of the Year from their schools. So from the central office, we have been able to snag Evan Clapsaddle to help us in federal programs. And the reason that we're doing that is many of you know that Regina and Steve Ash have been going through and will continue to go through some significant medical challenges in the coming months. And we needed somebody in the office to help us manage all of the difficult pieces of federal programs, and they're extensive. So our prayers, our thoughts go out to Steve and Regina is still employed with us, but also Evan, welcome aboard. We're fortunate and thankful to have you. I want to introduce to you, and I'm going to go out of order just a little bit from our agenda. I want to introduce to you the Swain County Principal of the Year for 2021. He is a young man who has walked into the principal's office and walked straight into the pandemic when he did. And he has done exceptionally well in all of those tasks, as has all of our leadership. So this morning I want to bring Tim Kerr to the podium. And Tim, would you please introduce new staff and your Teacher of the Year from the middle school, and then we'll bring other principals up after that. Congratulations, Tim, on your honor.
Well, thank you. So as Mr. Sale has alluded to, there has been significant change and transition this year. The middle school has not been immune to that. But before we start talking about new staff, let's celebrate Swain Middle School's Teacher of the Year for 2021-22. He is Mr. Tim Sale. Mr. Sale is the definition of passion. He cares deeply for band and music and will advocate to the ends of the earth for it. He cares more for the students he encounters than he does for band. In the few years that Tim has been at Swain Middle, I could not even count the number of students we have asked him to mentor. He never seems to get frustrated or burdened by that. What Tim says holds significant weight with our students, and his program has saved many students. Multiple times a week, Tim will come by the office and ask if anyone needs help with anything. He'll serve as a secretary when Kathy needs it, bus duty, pretty much whatever is needed at the moment. He is the very representation of Maroon Strong and Swain family, and I am exceedingly proud that Mr. Tim Sale is a member of Swain Middle School and that he is our Teacher of the Year. Our Swain Middle Teacher Assistant of the Year is Miss Angela Gunner. And truthfully, I'm not sure that title is fair. She teaches many classes on Cherokee culture, history, language, and is passionate about keeping the traditions alive. She writes grants, helps in the office, assists in several classrooms. We all trust her to help us with students that can't be reached by others. Thank you, Mrs. Gunner, for all you do for us, and again, we are blessed to have you at Swain Middle School. All right, so changes and transitions this year. We have quite a few new staff members. In the 6th grade, in math, we have Matthew Thaden. We are glad he is joining our team. In the 8th grade, as an exceptional children's teacher, we have Auburn Barker. In physical education, and he will be the new women's varsity basketball coach, Josh Griffith. Our new 7th grade social studies teacher, just hired last night, is Dakota Makuso. And our new media assistant is Steve Jameson. We also have some shifting. We are fortunate that Pam Cunningham has come to the middle school to be an EC assistant. We have Miss Cheryl Green, who is 8th grade science. She was with us last year as a virtual teacher, but has transitioned into the role as an 8th grade science teacher. Mr. Jared Turbyfill has also transitioned from virtual to 8th grade social studies. Mrs. Gray Lakey, she is back in the 6th grade English. She was 6th grade English last year temporarily, but she has now permanently been given that role, and we are very excited for that. And Miss Heather Herron has become Swain Middle School's instructional coach. And then we have 2 administrative changes. One is that our new assistant principal is Ryan McMahon. We are very excited for Ryan to join us. You see Miss Amanda Sutton up on this stage as the principal at East, so he is going to attempt to fill her shoes, and I'm sure he will do a good job. And our new athletic director is Keith Payne, as Coach Jeff Marr moved to the high school. So, lots of change and transition at the middle school, and we are very excited for what this year holds. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr, and congratulations for all of those movements, and thank you to those staff members who have been willing to shift from one place to another to help us fill the needs. You mentioned Pam Cunningham. Pam Cunningham is not only a new member of your staff, but Pam is our Swain County Teacher Assistant of the Year, and that is very, very well deserved. Pam has been with us for several years and has decided that she would like to work perhaps at a different location, but she'll bring the same passion and the same concern for students that she has had in every place where she has served. So congratulations, Ms. Cunningham, on that award as well. Now let's continue on with our leadership in our schools and talk about the Teacher of the Year for the pre-K and also your Assistant of the Year and any changes. Ms. Tricia Chapman.
Morning. I was fortunate enough to be Miss Nikki's cooperating teacher 6 years ago. Miss Nikki Stevenson started in my classroom with a quiet confidence that you do not often see in a brand new teacher. I knew then she was going to be incredible. Nikki has a wonderful way of balancing independence with seeking advice when needed. She rarely asks for help, but when she does, it's because she knows it's better for her students to seek some assistance. If you ever see her in action in her classroom, you'll find that her students, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, know exactly where they should be and what they should be doing. This comes from an incredible classroom management that's built on relationships and trust between her and her students. Her peers recognize her phenomenal contribution to early education, and they thus selected her to be the Bright Ventures Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Miss Nikki, and thank you for all you do. 5 years ago, Miss Natalie Crisp joined the incredible team of teaching assistants at Bright Adventures. She quickly found her role as an unshakable supporter of our students. If one of our preschoolers needs a cheerleader, it's Miss Natalie cheering them on in achieving their goals. Not only is Miss Natalie irreplaceable in her daily work of guiding little learners, but also in the laughter and unity she brings our staff. When things are hard, we can always rely on Miss Natalie to refocus us with some humor. It's not surprising that her peers chose her as this year's Teacher Assistant of the Year. Thank you, Miss Natalie, and congratulations. Our only shift in staff is that we welcome Miss Alicia Williamson to Bright Adventures to help support the needs of our little learners. Thank you.
We'd like to bring Miss Sonia Blankenship now to the podium and ask for her to introduce her Teacher of the Year and also the several changes that have happened here as well.
Good morning. The first thing I want to do is recognize our Teacher of the Year, who was Ashley West. Ashley West is an amazing, dynamic teacher who engages her students through lots of different ways, but there's always some kind of activity going on. She's dressing up. It's not uncommon for us to walk into the office and be a little startled and a little stunned by what we see because it doesn't look like Ashley. She has made amazing connections with students, and the growth that she has had in the past 3 years has just been phenomenal. She's also the kind of person who is a servant leader. She serves as our NC Star chairperson, and she goes above and beyond in that role. As a matter of fact, I think I saw about 4 or 5 emails this morning that she was sending out to the teachers because she chooses to take that off the plates of the administration. Last spring, well, actually all of last year, we didn't ask our teachers to do gate duties because we just felt like with the COVID and the pandemic that we were putting them at risk, and so we chose not to do that. But Ashley would come to us and say, I want to do this, let me help you do this. So she was always there willing to help. So again, if you looked up servant leadership, Ashley West is the person that you would see there. Our teacher assistant is Kathy Outlaw. Kathy is the quiet constant. She is a huge supporter throughout our EC department, but she is willing to help any student and any teacher in any way possible. Again, she's just very quiet. You don't hear a whole lot from her, but she is actually a huge support system for all of the staff that is in this building. We appreciate all that both those folks bring to the Swain family here at the high school. Moving forward with our new hires, we hired Valerie Bates to be an English teacher. We hired Derek Ledford to be our new Native American coordinator. We had some roles and some shifts here at the high school. Jeff Marr came on in our PE department and is the assistant athletic director here at the high school now. Jane Dean moved roles and is now in the history department. She moved from CTE over into the history department when we lost Vince Bradley. Anna Rowland will shift into a different role. She's still going to be a social worker working towards her counseling degree because Miss Barbara Sneed moved over into the CTE director's position. So all of those were our changes. We also had some additional folks in our custodial staff we acquired, and we're pretty excited about this. Mr. James Bones Kirkland. And then we also have a new cafeteria manager, Lovey Fortner. Thank you.
Speaking of Vince Bradley leaving, that doesn't mean that we have actually lost him. That's not what Sonia meant. But what has happened is Vince has chosen to move into a different role in the school system, and so he's going to be at East Elementary as a PE teacher. What an interesting shift, but we're excited for Vince and also for East to be able to fill that. So speaking of East, we're going to ask Miss Amanda, oh my goodness, Sutton. We've got so many Amandas and Suttons working. I'm getting them all confused. Miss Amanda Sutton, who is the new principal at East, and also the old principal at East, and that emphasis on old. You're welcome. Evan Clapsaddle, and they're going to come and they are going to co-introduce Teachers of the Year, Assistant, and also new staff. So come on forward.
Good morning. Briefly, I'd like to take just a moment to thank the folks out at East for all their support and their love over the last 3.5 years. It was great working with y'all and getting to know y'all, and East Elementary is full of great folks, and the fellow that I want to speak just briefly about now is Mr. Jason Dunford. And to use an expression, he's just good people. He's a great man, exceptional educator. Everything he does, from his bus route to his classroom to helping in the office, walking the hallways, he's there for the kids 100%. And he's there to support the families of those kids, and you can see it in the interactions he has with parents, with the students themselves, and the community at large. It's my honor and it's my privilege to recognize Jason Dunford as East Elementary's 2021-22 Teacher of the Year.
And for our Teacher Assistant of the Year, Miss Angie Schuler. She is so deserving of this, and no one could say it better than Miss Watson. Congratulations, Ms. Schuler. This award couldn't have been given to a more dedicated individual. I have had the pleasure of teaching with her for 10 years. In those years, she has helped me teach roughly 150 kindergarten students to read, write, and count, and made learning fun and interactive. An example are her edible Jell-O rainbows, which she makes every St. Patrick's Day. Mrs. Schuler has cleaned up after me more than I care to admit, checked and cleaned folders every morning. Ms. Schuler has reached out to children that are struggling with learning or with home life and given them countless hugs and encouragement, pulled hundreds of teeth, and has kept us all laughing. Your dedication to Swain County students is irreplaceable, and I thank you for that, both as a colleague and parent of one of those students. As the children say, we love you, Ms. Schuler. And for our new people, we have Sarah Boston teaching 3rd grade, Vincent Bradley in PE, Hannah Klimmer, our social worker, Whitney Davis teaching kindergarten, Samantha Flanagan, 3rd grade, Alyssa Holbert, 1st grade, Leah Jackson is a reading interventionist, David Kirkland, a custodian, Terry Walkingstick, our behavior assistant, Katie Walls teaching 1st grade, and Kelly Walls, a 1st grade teacher assistant.
And Mr. Flatsettle, you gave us the perfect segue to go to the next school because Jason Dunford, the East Elementary Teacher of the Year for 2021, is now the Dean of Students at West Elementary, working with our new principal there, Miss Lisa Sutton. I got that right. Okay. And we've got a blast from the past coming to help Lisa deliver some of these honors and announcements, and that is Miss Vicki Davis, who has chosen to retire for some reason. And I just want you to know I gave you a job recommendation the other day, and you're going to wish that you'd stayed with us. No, I'm teasing. We're excited for you, and I gave you a good recommendation. So you two come and tell us about West Elementary.
So Vicki titled our little Google document here, Vicki and Lisa Back Together Again, and it's my privilege to stand beside her once again. I love her dearly. Just a little blurb about last year. Our faculty last year faced times that we have never imagined. We went from AB all week, excluding Wednesdays, which were so beneficial, working on bus routes, sanitizing, eating in classrooms, fixing meals to deliver, and did we mention virtual teaching that hit the ground running? Many of us faced fears from the virus and many people didn't. But we still came together and we joined forces to show that Swain County Schools has a heart like no other. We worked tirelessly. Some words that were mentioned from staff as I met with them at the end of the year when we recognized I was going to be the principal this coming year. We adjusted quickly. We had closeness with our remote kids. We kept going. Drive. Resilient. Supportive of each other. Adapted. Utilized technology. More communication with parents than ever. Flexible. We are superheroes. We are amazing. We survived. Kids appreciated school. We never quit. We dug in deep, no matter what. And we can do anything. And I think at Swain County Schools, we proved that.
Today, Lisa and I have the privilege of recognizing not only West's Teacher of the Year and Teacher Assistant of the Year, but also the District Teacher of the Year and Teacher Assistant of the Year because they both came from West. We were chosen to present these awards because both recipients worked at West last year. I've always thought these awards were among the most special that a staff member could receive because these recipients are chosen by the people who are in the trenches with them every single day, their colleagues. When an award such as this is bestowed on a Swain County staff member, it goes to show that this individual gives their best and then some every single day.
Our teacher assistants are such an amazing group of people, and I carry a special place for them in my heart because my first full-time position was as a teacher assistant. So I know the responsibilities and the demands that are asked of these individuals. They're delegated many duties that help teachers to be effective as they can be. They teach right alongside their partner teachers. This particular assistant that we are talking about is one of the hardest working people that I know. She gives it her all with all the students she works with. Her schedule truly involved working with students all day long. In this upcoming year, we will miss her so much at West Elementary, but middle school has gained a valuable employee, and we proudly announce that last year's Teacher Assistant of the Year was Pam Cunningham.
I get the distinct privilege of announcing our Swain County Schools Teacher of the Year. Her job is one that I would never want, nor would I attempt. She teaches kindergarten. I used to love to watch her teach. Her students are learning all the time, even during transitions from one activity to another. She seamlessly teaches vocabulary to our smallest learners through movement and kinesthetic activities. When she teaches morning calendar, she consistently teaches concepts that are well above the North Carolina standards for kindergarten. Her students feel loved daily and are prepared for first grade when they leave her classroom. She does all this while still being a leader in our school. She will be serving on our NC Star team this year and co-chairing our adult Lighthouse team. I am proud and honored to announce that Mrs. Jordan Farley is the 2021-22 Swain County Teacher of the Year.
Our new staff for the coming year, we inherited Chloe Reagan from the high school. She will be a teacher assistant at our school. Julie Bennett returned to Swain County Schools. She was a high school math teacher, and her new role will be adaptive for her, I'm sure, but she has hit the ground running, and we are thrilled to have her as a reading interventionist. Robbie Brown will be joining us as a behavior assistant. Carly Wilcox will be a 5th grade teacher. Tiffany Walker is joining us from the pre-K. She will be a kindergarten teacher. Cindy Arch is joining us from the middle school as a 4th grade teacher. Taylor Cochran, Tony Cochran's daughter, if you don't know that, she will be joining as an EC teacher at West. She will be teaching grades 2nd and 3rd grade. And as mentioned before, Jason Dunford will be joining us as my Dean of Students. There were other moves within our school. Megan Whiteside is a new teacher, and she will be joining us in 5th grade. Jill Blake is going to be our instructional coach. Kim Walls moved to EC from kindergarten. Gina Bradley is going to 1st grade. And Hannah Farmer is back from a year off with us, and we are thrilled to have her.
Thanks to all of our principals and our ex-principals for the effort that you've put into helping us put all the people in place this summer. I didn't realize until I was allowed to move into the central office about 3 years ago how much work each of our district staff accomplish every day, every week, and every month. I want to call some of them to the podium today to introduce the support person of the year, the student support person, the technology support person, and our food worker of the year. These three are not three who like to be behind the microphone very often. So if Jennifer and Karen and Brandon Sutton would come, and very quickly, as quickly as you would like, describe how your support staff has helped our school system. Thank you so much.
It is my privilege to recognize, but more importantly, work beside Swain County Schools Student Support Person of the Year, Ms. Carol Shell. This past year has created many burdens for school personnel. You have all had to accept new responsibilities and press forward to provide students with the best education possible in a safe, nurturing environment. The COVID-19 pandemic added the extra task of symptom monitoring, isolation tracking, and mandatory quarantine reporting to the school nurses. Ms. Shell has been instrumental in developing communication loops within the 4 school nurses, the Swain County Health Department, and me. She has facilitated meetings between the school and health department to ensure the schools are doing what is needed to provide a safe learning place. She has served as the liaison between Swain County Schools and the regional school nurse coordinator to secure up-to-date information and PPE for our district. I think I can speak for the other school nurses when I say we value Ms. Shell's leadership and support.
I want to recognize the entire tech staff. I can't put into words how much I appreciate everything that each one of them does every day, especially their hard work on the front lines since March of 2020. I want to offer a special shout out to one of our technicians, Mr. Jonathan Cook. He's been employed with Swain County Schools in the tech department for almost 9 years. He provides tech support for Swain Middle School and Bright Adventures, as well as the district office, the maintenance shop, and the bus garage. John is quick to offer assistance and is always willing to help. That rascal is certainly one of a kind and an asset in our department and the school system. Our technology support person of the year is Mr. Jonathan Cook.
First of all, I just want to say how lucky I am that picking an employee of the year is an extremely difficult task. There are so many incredible people I am blessed to work with who are worthy of this title. This past year has provided the school nutrition department the opportunity to show the community what they are made of, and that they did. They have worked tirelessly to feed our kids in a constantly ever-changing environment. Their ingenuity, flexibility, and can-do attitudes have amazed me every day of this crazy year. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you to each and every school nutrition employee and to all the other employees, there have been many, that have helped this past year feed kids. As difficult as it was to pick just one employee, one person in particular stood out to me as an example of all of the things I've mentioned. Vicki Harless from East Cafeteria. When COVID hit and we had to start wearing masks, Vicki went home and worked all weekend making everyone beautiful masks that made wearing masks a little bit easier. Vicki is just like that. She is always willing to help anyone she can, and she does it all with a smile on her face. And that makes coming to work easier for everyone around her. So thank you, Vicki, and all the school nutrition employees for all you do and continue to do.
Thanks to you three very much for that. I want to call Tommy Dills to the podium now. Tommy started as our HR lead in the central office, and then as we lost Randy Arvey to retirement last year, Tommy stepped up to the plate and is helping lead maintenance now as well. And between those two jobs, I don't know how he gets any sleep. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. So if you would introduce to us, please, our maintenance person of the year and our custodian of the year.
Guys, my mind is in 10,000 different places, and I apologize. But there are so many things going on in maintenance. Unfortunately, after we lost Randy, I came in March and didn't really necessarily know what I was getting into. But the guys up there were able to help me take care of them and take care of myself, and I think that we're getting some things worked out. And they are all deserving of this. There's not one of them that doesn't pull their weight on every single day. And we're short-staffed because we've had, some injuries and one thing and another. But we're doing the best we can every day. But Michael Green was our representative for this year, and I'd like to especially thank him for the way that he stepped up to try to help us, and particularly with plumbing, while we've had some injuries and some one thing and another that have forced absences. And he stepped up and really helped us out and has broadened his knowledge base, and he's done a great job for us, and I appreciate him.
So as Tommy tries to remember who our custodian of the year is, I wish you were all here so that we could laugh together on that. Because everybody who is here in this building is chuckling loudly. I'm going to call Toby Burrell up. And Toby, if you would please announce our transportation person of the year, who has had a ginormous job in the past calendar year, and also carry us through until we get to our statement from the school board. till Tommy remembers what he's supposed to.
Well, to be honest with you, any year is a multifaceted operation to get buses out and to get all of our students picked up. But to say that this COVID year was trying would be an understatement. We had no earthly idea how to run two schedules, an A and a B schedule, and pick up students and make sure we got everybody. But the big thanks today that we need to give is to our drivers who really stepped up this year. We've heard that phrase a lot already, but it's very appropriate for our school system and what y'all did during this pandemic. Our drivers helped in coordination with Jennifer and the cafeteria staff deliver meals to our community when it was a time when some of our kids wouldn't have eaten. And so we're very proud to have been able to be a part of that, and want to thank all of our drivers for that. But our transportation person of the year, I'm not sure that we could have had school without her, to be honest with you. Mr. Sale and I walked in down there at the start of school and said, this is what we got, how are we going to do it? And Tessa looked at us and shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. And she did, above and beyond the call of duty, and she's always there to answer any problems that we have. So our transportation person of the year is Tessa Crawford. And Tessa, if you're watching, you shouldn't be because you're on vacation this week. Go back to doing what you were doing. But we want to thank her for her hard work this year, and everybody at the bus garage who have worked tirelessly to make sure that if a student needed a ride to school, it got taken care of. You good? Huh? He's good. So Tommy's back.
I wish I could tell you that I didn't ever forget anything. But I came up here and drew a complete blank, and I hope you're laughing about it. But it does not diminish the job these guys had to do. All the custodians and all the buildings, and it's hard to pick one because we have so many people that come in and do a great job and keep our kids healthy and safe inside these school buildings by keeping them clean. And this past year was very challenging, and we've had a great deal of turnover. And unfortunately, our custodian of the year is no longer with us as an organization either. But he did a great job for us for the time that he was here. He was at East Elementary, and his name is Mr. Danny Woods. And he left us about a month ago to take a job with another, doing something else, driving a truck, making a little bit more money. And we can't pay what those jobs are worth to us because we can't keep the doors open without them. But Danny did a great job for us, and he was our custodian of the year last year. But every single person that has to do that every day deserves a round of applause. It's a thankless job. The thing that seems to get noticed most often is what doesn't get done. And we owe them a debt of gratitude that would be hard for us to repay, and we certainly don't get to give them the debt of gratitude that they should on payday. And I apologize for that, but it's just the budget's what the budget is. But they do a great job for us, and please thank them when you come across them.
The next phase of our program is we need to recognize some folks from our community. And before I do that, I want to take just a minute to say that everybody up here has made a lot of mention of people stepping up and helping us get through this very difficult year, but that's very true of our community as well. And while we're singling out a couple of folks today for what they've done for us, we would be remiss in saying that our entire community stepped up. And we are grateful to you from the bottom of our hearts, and we couldn't do what we do without each and every one of you. Unfortunately, there's so many of you who stepped up and did from the smallest thing to the biggest thing that we couldn't mention everybody today. If we did, we'd leave people out, and that is certainly not our intent. We were very grateful for each and every part of our community and the role that they play in us being able to do what we do every day. But we do have two Friends of Education this year that we want to point out. I'll ask Jerry McKinney and our representative to come up at this time and let Mr. McKinney, our board chairman, make this presentation to Victory Baptist Church. And we also have one for Deep Creek Baptist Church. They're not with us today, but we'll make sure they get that. And we are so appreciative to them for allowing us to use their facilities for off-site campuses. So, Mr. McKinney,
Well, this has surprised me. I didn't know I was going to issue an award or give an award out. I'm not issuing it. But I hear a lot of information coming back from how much support we get from some of these local churches. And it means a lot to these kids. And it's not just one time. It's time and time and time again. I think we're fortunate. I'm not sure this happens in every county, but our churches through C4C and some of those organizations, they work so closely with our kids. And at the end of the day, that's who gets helped. So thank you so much for what you do. And is representing from Deep Creek Baptist Church here? Okay. That was Victory Baptist Church, in case you know, and then for Deep Creek Baptist Church, and they're not here today. We'll get this too.
And one last piece of business for me, and you'll be rid of me for the day, most of you. We want to recognize our retirees from last year. And so I will read their names off this list, and if you're at their schools, feel free to applaud because I'm not going to slow down. Vicki Davis, who we've already seen, retired. Susan Zimmerman, Phil Burkhart, Billy Clemens, Vicki King, Gladys Waldroop, and John Hagler, all retired during this last year, and they leave humongous imprints upon us that we'll try our very best to fill.
When I speak with Mr. McKinney, almost every time he says, we would like as a board to be able to come to the schools and to visit and to show our appreciation. However, once again, the pandemic has influenced that some. So I've asked Mr. McKinney if he would come this morning and perhaps share some of his thoughts and appreciation for all of the staff of Swain County Schools. So Mr. McKinney, here's your opportunity. Even if you can't necessarily get into the buildings, you can do that now.
I feel better coming this morning already since I had some younger folks up here forgetting names. So I feel like maybe I'm all right after all. And briefly, to tell you, when I first ran for the Board of Education, my sister called me. She was retired from the school system in Jackson County. And she called me and she said, have you lost your mind? She said, everybody hates the school board. And now I've been around for a long time, and we used to deal with school boards. But I'm here to tell you that the primary goal of this school board is to do what we can to help our faculty, our staff, our schools, and our students. And I hear this all the time. And the thing that worries me the most is how can we do it the best? And we're in a predicament. We want to pay these folks more money. We're losing custodians about one a month, I believe. And there's not enough money there to keep people. But we have to ask other people for the money. We want to try to reward staff and teachers and do things that makes their job easier. But we're, again, straddled by the fact that we have to depend on someone else to provide that money and those resources. So, and I've thought about this every day for the last 13 years nearly. What ways can we show how much we appreciate them? And I want the staff to know, and the board, I hear this all the time from them. That's what we worry about, is we appreciate and love every staff member we've got. We think we have the best school in the state of North Carolina, and I don't think I'm far wrong. I see things daily going on that I'm impressed with, and it's constantly, I'm proud when I drive into this school and see what's happened in this school and how it's grown and what we can do to these other schools. And we have a lot of things on the plate still. We need pre-K, we need middle school improvements, we need a track. There's a lot of things we need out there. If only I could find a way to get the jackpot and get it, but we'll continue working. But I just wanted you to understand that we really do think constantly about what you do in our school system and how our kids benefit. Like you, well, not like you, we don't have to deal with it every day in the school setting with this COVID. But issues around COVID, it has driven us crazy. It is very stressful You got to make a decision about, do you have mask or do you don't have mask? What is the best decision for the safety of our students, our faculty, and everybody that's around children? And it's not easy, but the only reason that we do it, and the only reason we stay there, I think, or the only reason I do, I know for sure, is the dedication to what we have in this system for our kids. And I appreciate it, and I want you to know I appreciate it. If there's a better way of showing that appreciation, please let me know, and we'll try to find it. Thank you.
At some point in an opening session, we have to take a moment and spin our thoughts perhaps into a less positive area, and that is we need to remember those who we may have lost, not just to retirement, but because they're no longer with us at all. Over the summer, one of our staff members, a man who no one has anything negative to say about, passed on from us and from his family. And so we're going to take a moment right now, and we're going to have a moment of silence for Jason Webb. And after that, I'm going to ask our pastor from Deep Creek Baptist if he would come and he would say a short prayer for us, not to offend anyone, but I think that as we remember Jason, and also as we begin our school year, from whatever religious persuasion you are, that it would do us well to take a moment and perhaps share some thoughts or perhaps a prayer. So if our pastor would come, let's pause for a moment. Let's remember Jason Webb and his family, and then if you would lead us in a short prayer.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the grace and the mercy and love that you provide in the good times and in the sad times. We remember Mr. Webb and the influence he was on countless lives, things that we'll never know on this earth, but you view from heaven. I thank you for the life that he lived, and I thank you for what he is doing even now through the lives of the young boys and young girls and the teachers that he surrounded. I ask you now that you would bless this school system. I ask you that you be the teachers, you be the principals and the staff, that you would give them wisdom from on high, and that through all these things, you would be honored and glorified. We thank you for what you've done, what you are doing, and what you're going to do. And please make this the best year it's ever been, even through all the circumstances. May you be honored and glorified. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And so with that, we will conclude our opening session for this year. I would like to challenge you as you go through this year that we not lose focus on what really matters. First of all, the colleagues and the friends that you have in the hallways and in the school buildings, across the school system. It is so important that we take a few moments every day, and I would challenge you to do this. Take a few moments every day and just express gratitude to someone close to you for what they mean in your life, or perhaps for the job that they're doing. I would also encourage every one of us, as we're looking at our PLC work and our MTSS focus this year, those will be the two primary driving goals, initiatives, if you want to call them that. I don't see them as initiatives anymore. I see us as strengthening those now. As we're focusing on those, please remember this thought. Every student in every classroom matters. As our administrative team went through some training for PLCs in the past spring, there is a thought that came from that training that seems to be resonating, perhaps sticking in many of our minds, and that is, would my classroom, would my school be good enough for my children? That's a powerful statement. I have no doubt that all of our teachers, all of our assistants, everyone works every day for that. But could I please encourage us to think about one other thing? My children are important to me. But there are other children in the classroom who have parents that may not consider them to be quite as important. And so let's make sure that as we're working from day to day, that we not fall into a place where we may be using some students incorrectly perhaps pushing them in a way that they aren't designed to be pushed, or perhaps not paying enough attention to them. That's what this book is about, The Day the Crayons Quit. And when Tricia gave this to me, it set me on a new path last spring, because it caused me to think about all of the students who we have lost, either through dropping out of school or perhaps simply the loss of interest. And it made me think, what are we doing that might cause our students to quit? Help me consider that this year. And instead of thinking at it from a negative, let's look at it from a positive. How can we meet the needs of every student every day in every classroom? I believe we can do that. I know that that's a tall job, but I have confidence in you, and I have confidence in our administration to make that happen. So let's make that our why this year. Every student, every day, because every student matters. Thank you for working with me towards that. I appreciate it, and please know that we sincerely appreciate you, all that you're doing, all that you're going through, and we're here to support you in any way we can. So to all of you, our happy family gathering, as I've heard this called, tongue-in-cheek. Yes, I know. Our happy family gathering is concluded. Go back to what is probably most important in your life, and that's getting ready for next Monday. God bless you. Thanks to you all, and have a great day and a great school year. Thank you for being with us.